Hi, everybody, and welcome to Evolve Love. I am your host, Amanda, and I am so happy that you have found this podcast. Are you looking for daily inspiration, motivation, and wisdom to help you begin your day feeling supported and uplifted with love? Well, you have come to the right place. This podcast is a space of encouragement where you can be held in your self-development because in order to evolve, you need love, and it begins here with you. Now, let's get into today's episode. Hi, everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome to a brand new week here at Evolve Love. I also want to wish all of you a very happy solstice, which was yesterday, Sunday, and I hope that you all are really feeling the excitement of a fresh new season. And today's episode and this whole week of episodes is going to be a really bright and joyful theme. And I'm really excited about it because I mentioned that last week, in last week's recordings, that I was preparing to go to an astrology workshop, which I have since been to in the real time of recording this, and it was absolutely incredible. Like truly eye-opening, just completely helped me to see new things that I hadn't seen before within my chart, and just also finding, again, like I talked about in last week, validation around the way I was feeling on certain items. And what the feedback that I got from last week's episodes was that people were really enjoying diving into their charts to look for their stelliums and to look for stelliums of loved ones. And I am just so excited. So I kind of want to keep running with this because something else that I found on my chart as of late, I am just really fascinated by. I have never heard of this before, but through the work that I've been doing lately, this is something that came up. And I was like, ooh, this could be a fun one to talk about on the podcast on Evolve Love. And so today we're going to be talking about the part of fortune, or it is also seen as Pars Fortuna on the charts, depending on where you are looking. Now, what's really interesting about the part of fortune is that it's not a planet, but it is a mathematical point in your chart. And it's actually found using a formula, which I'm not really sure how to explain or understand, but I do know that it involves your big three. And depending on whether you were born in the day or the night, also affects the formula that is used to figure this out. So the reason why I'm sharing it today, as Monday, I always sort of pick the theme around the moon sign. Today's moon sign is in Libra, and my part of fortune is in Libra. So what is really interesting here too to look at is if you want to find out what your part of fortune is on your chart, you will find it depending on what website you use or wherever you do your charting. It looks like a symbol that is a circle with an X in it. So if you see a circle with an X inside, that is the part of fortune. And some charts will have it and some won't. So you may have to find like an individual calculator if you're not seeing it on your chart. But with this part of fortune, things to think about is to look at the sign that it is in, because the sign that it is in is how it's going to show up for you. And the house, also looking at the house number that it is in, is going to be where it shows up for you. So the sign is how, the house is where. And with the part of fortune, you're probably like, okay, so what is it? What is it exactly? The part of fortune is the point where we can acknowledge, feel, and recognize the joy, the happiness, luck, prosperity, your success and your talents, your ease. Sometimes it's associated with career because that kind of can go along hand in hand with success and talents. So what beautiful energy. I mean, these words that I'm saying, they're all high vibe. They are all up-leveled energies. Prosperity, luck, happiness, joy, ease. Like these are all things that so many people strive for. Like any given day, if you were to be asked, what is it that you want in life? I can almost guarantee one of these words are there in your hopes and in your dreams, that you want to have days filled with joy. You want to have moments of ease. All of these things are things that, though we might not be able to put an actual concept goal around, it is the feeling that we want to feel out of the goals that we set for ourselves. So no matter what your specific goals are, the feelings underlying them are all here in this part of fortune. So I don't really want to spend today talking about myself, so I thought it would be really interesting if we look into two famous people's part of fortune, because I think this is going to help us to see how this plays for others, and then we can dive into how it plays for us. So we're going to talk about Albert Einstein. And what is so interesting here about Albert Einstein is I have recorded this episode twice now, and every time I go to do this research, it's different. But I think this is the right one, and I think that we can see how this may play a part. So Albert Einstein's part of fortune was in the sign of Aquarius, and some say that it was in the 9th house, and some say that it was in the 10th house. But most of what I was seeing said 9th house. And so with this here, we're talking about it showing up in the realm of philosophy, higher education, really expanded thought, which, okay, Albert Einstein definitely broke the mold on a lot of things. And then when it comes to Aquarius, which to me is like the humanitarian sign, the good of all, the collective energy, what he was doing really was for all of that. He was trying, with his work, what he was doing was he was up-leveling elements of humanity, and also think too about the technological advances and the mathematic advancements that came from him. It was very, very high, like, energy of learning and growth and knowledge and information. And so like all of this here is just, you can really see the influence of that with the Aquarius sign and the 9th house placement. So that to me was super interesting. So there's one from history. Now, one that has been really fascinating me as of late, because she is someone that is in my age grouping, my generation, and I am just so in awe of what she is doing, is Hilary Duff. So all my millennial people out there, you are probably like, okay, yes, you either watched Lizzie McGuire or maybe you listened to her music, but Hilary Duff was a big iconic person within many of our teen lives. And what was interesting is so many of us, not only was she like, a TV star, a singer, a performer, she was also someone close to us in age, depending on where you are in the millennial age. But anyways, Hilary Duff, the reason why I've been like so interested in her is because she is having such an incredible reinvention of herself back on the scene. Like she's back, she's touring, she is finding incredible success with music that she's putting out, and she has taken a massive break from that world. Like she has not toured for a very long time. She has not been cast in a show in a very long time because she has been spending a lot of time working on other projects and also being in the home and like taking care of her children and, raising a family. And so I found this like so fascinating. Like when I saw all the Hilary Duff stuff coming out, I was like, oh my gosh, like way to go. Like, look at her go. This is amazing. So I wanted to dive into hers, and I hope this is accurate. I'm not quite sure, but all I could get out of my research is that Hilary Duff's part of fortune is in Aries. And so when we think about Aries is the first sign of the zodiac wheel, and it is that I am. It is that self energy, but there is also big, bold action with Aries. There is a going after it energy. And with her, this whole like reinvention of who she is reminds me of new beginnings, just like Aries sets off in the cycle. So, and she took a really, really bold risk. If you think about it, it's like she wanted to put out new music. She wanted to be able to tour again. And it's like, is there still an audience? She didn't know. Like, hopefully there is, right? She did all of this work and like, look at the audience that shows up for her. And it's just so beautiful. She's doing her thing. She's joyful. She's sharing her love. And she's just being an incredible role model still, I feel, for the potential it is that we have. And that age doesn't need to have we don't have to put a number or an age to the goals that we set for ourselves. Because look at her. She's out on that stage now at almost 40 years old. And like, she is doing it. And I'm just so just inspired by that, we can do this. And so I can see how her part of fortune would be in Aries, because this is like showing up for her, like where her career is finding a resurgence, her prosperity, her joy, her happiness for performing again. And of course it involves her success and her talents. So enough about celebrities. It's time to dive into this for yourself. So in this week, as we get started, I want you to think about, even before you dive into your chart, where in your life do you feel the most joy and luck? What is it that you are doing that really lights you up, that makes you feel like you are completely in the correct role that you should be in? And then check your chart and see, does it line up? Or does it inspire an action of what might be to come for the next part of this for yourself? So again, it is the part of fortune, and it is seen on the chart by a circle with a X in the middle of it. I hope today's episode inspires you. I hope today's episode lights you up just like the part of fortune. And I'm so, so grateful to you all for being here. I hope that you will follow me over on my Instagram at _evolvelove. And I'm really excited for this week ahead. It's beautiful energy here laid out with the different ideas we'll be sharing. And I am just really looking forward to it. So make sure you're also following the podcast on the platform of your choice if you haven't already. That will help to give you notifications when new episodes are available, and they are available each day of the week except for Saturdays and Sundays. All right, everybody, have a beautiful Monday, and we will talk tomorrow.